everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to tell you why Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney. And the real reason, really, why Disney is being sued by Scarlett Johansson. Now, last time I made a video about this, I really didn't know. It was just like, she's suing them, and I was rattling through my head, why is she suing them? And then when it started coming out more, I was like, okay, maybe I get it. If they breached a contract, cool. Okay, so if Disney, didn't pay, talk to her or pay her up front and tell her that they were moving Black Widow to Disney Premium, Disney Plus Premium, then yeah, that's a breaching contract and they should pay her. But then Disney came out, after the video, Disney came out with a response saying, oh, we paid you $20 million for moving it to Disney Plus Premium. And that should have been adequate enough for, that should have been adequate enough. So then I'm wondering, okay, so you paid, so Disney did pay her. And then on top of that, it was rattling through my brain, if she was going to sue Disney, if she was going to make a lawsuit towards Disney, why would she wait so late in the game to do so? Like, when she put this whole lawsuit thing out there, Black Widow had been out going on 2 to 3 weeks. Black Widow had already been announced to be moved to Disney Plus and like months ago. So I was confused about why she waited so long, and I was confused about, well, if Disney paid you, then what are we suing for? Because I was kind of confused about that. And then I started hearing rumors about other people waiting to see how this is gonna go. You hear rumors about Emma Stone and ironically Emily Blunt and a couple other people kind of sitting waiting to see how this goes, to see if this goes well. Maybe they can sue too. And then it occurred to me what this really is about. It occurred to me the actual thing that this is actually about. Now, for reference, so that we all can understand each other. Now, if you've been following me long enough, you understand how these things work. But just in case you haven't, I'll break it down to you. The box office works differently. A lot of people think when they see that big number that the studio made all that money. That is not how it works. In fact, the studio makes about 55 to 60 something % of that box office money. The rest goes to the theaters. So whenever you see the Avengers make $1 billion movie, the Disney/Marvel Studios, they don't get $1 billion back. They get about 65% of it. Now every other studio gets about 50 to like 60. Disney gets 65%. I don't think every other studio gets 65%. Disney's just kind of big balling the basically the world's theater chains because they're fucking Disney and they have the biggest movies in the world, so they can big ball and be like, give us 60% and all the screens. And that's basically what Disney does. Well, everyone else, every other studio gets about 55, like 60, like 57, you can play with the semantics there, but it's a nice little, the studios get a nice little chunk out of that box office revenue. And a lot of the talent, a lot of the bigger stars, the DiCaprios, the Meryl Streeps, like those kind of people, like Scarlett Johansson, those kind of actors get back pay, and what that means is they get a percentage of the box office, which is why which is how actors like Tom Hanks and like Tom Cruise and all these other actors can go on, don't need to make so many movies, it's kind of how DiCaprio is able to not make a shit ton of movies. Like, he can make a movie every couple years. He doesn't have to make a movie every year. He doesn't have a movie coming out every year. It's because he usually gets back pay and he's good. Once he gets back pay, so he's gonna get he's getting paid like $20-30 million up front, and then he's getting like $20-30 million on the back end. So it's like, it's cool. So he doesn't need to have a movie that blows up the box office. He doesn't need that. I mean, it'd be cool, but he doesn't need it. And it's also how Robert Downey Jr. made a shit ton of money from Disney. It's because he got a percentage of every film he was in, except for the Spider-Man movie. If I recall. But every other movie he had a percentage in. That's right. Robert Downey Jr. had a percentage in all the Avengers movies and all of his own movies. But yeah, so that's how he made a lot of money. So, but when COVID hit, Obviously, it fucked some things up because a lot of theaters were closed and a lot of people couldn't put those movies out. But these studios can't just sit on these films, so they have to put them out somewhere. It enters the new world we're living in where everyone has a streaming service. Studios put this on a streaming service, but it changes because if you put it on a streaming service, that takes away the back pay because there is no back pay to be given. But if you release it simultaneously, it could be argued, and Scarlett Johansson would argue, that it being on a streaming service means I make less money on the back pay because if it wasn't on the streaming service, it would make more money, hence I would get more money. So what this is really about is Scarlett Johansson, which is going to be a game changer, which would be a game changer. And I thought it was a little hyperbolic when I heard some people say this is going to be this is a game-changing lawsuit. Because I was just like, oh, you're just saying that because it's Disney. But no, the reason it's a game-changing lawsuit, the reason if she wins, it'll be a big deal in Hollywood at the very least, is because what Scarlett Johansson's trying to get is a percentage of the movie sale on the VOD / Disney Plus premium access sales money. That's $60 million. And that's really why this happened. This happened. And this is the thing I was working through my mind is, because I was like, well, why didn't Emma Stone say anything? Why haven't I heard anything why haven't I heard anything from anyone else? Why haven't I heard no one's brought it up about Mulan? No one's brought it about Raya. No one's brought this up before. The theaters haven't even talked about it before. The only time the theaters and this lawsuit came up was when Disney mentioned the $60 million, which might kind of go back to fucking Bob Chapek being, I don't know what's wrong with that dude. That dude is a fucking wreck. Like, Bob Iger needs to come back. I don't know what's going on with Chapek, but Disney should have never posted up the figures for that. Because ever since that's when it happened. Because when Disney posted up that $60 million figure, Scarlett Johansson and the theaters, it sent a flare up to the theaters and Scarlett Johansson that is money that we have a rightful claim to. It's fucked up that you guys are trying to keep all this to yourself and, you fuck us over because that money could have been in the pool to come to me and them, and that money rightfully should have contractually been in the pool, and the only reason it isn't is because you guys are short-sighted, or Bob Chapek is short-sighted. I don't know which one. And that's what this is really about. They everyone, it's about the money. It's about the money first and foremost. That's all it's about is the money. And it's also about the fact that Disney posted that up. Because in my mind, I couldn't wrap my mind around why haven't we heard any rumblings about this? It's not like this is the first premiere access thing that Disney has put up. They put out like let me see. They put out Mulan, Raya, Cruella, and Black Widow. So they put out 3 other things before they even put Black Widow on Premiere Access. But the thing about it is, when they did do it, when they announced they were putting Black Widow on Premiere Access, it had done it for 2 weeks before we heard anything about from the theaters or from Scarlett Johansson, which to me is just perfect evidence that it's because Disney announced the actual statistics. If Disney does not announce the actual number, then the theaters don't know what they lost out on, and Scarlett Johansson doesn't know what she lost out on. So they have no real reason to really come at them because they have no clue if Disney made $1 million, they made $2 million. It could be any amounts of numbers because but since they posted up that $60 million, all I said, all the theaters and Scarlett Johansson, they felt cheated. Which, to be honest, and if Scarlett Johansson wins this, I'm sorry if I sound like I'm rambling, I'm just really thinking about this. If Scarlett Johansson wins this lawsuit and she gets paid the $50 million she's asking for, it could really change things because then actors will start wanting a percentage of VOD sales. Like how far does it go? Then actors will start wanting a percentage of VOD sales. Then actors will start wanting to know about how the movie did. And then actors will want to ask about the statistics of the movie, of how the movie did on the streaming service, and how can that translate to money for me? Like, if it does this certain amount of numbers, do I get paid this? That's how things will change. Because as of right now, when it comes to putting movies on VOD, when it comes to HBO and everyone, No one's getting a percentage on these movies on the actual strip. They're getting it elsewhere. They're getting paid, you know, but they're not like, it ain't a percentage or anything. It's not like, you know, in the contract on a streaming service, unless you're doing a TV show or whatnot, and you kind of already know, like, you go into the conversation like that. But this thing, and even then, I don't think it really does that. I don't think anyone's got that, like a number that you need to make. They have that with movies all the time. In movies, once a movie meets a certain number, they get paid. Which is why I think Scarlett Johansson is suing too, is because the movie had to meet a certain number for her to get that extra $50 million on the back end. And she's basically saying they sabotaged the movie so that they wouldn't have to pay her. I don't think so. I think they put it on Disney Plus because they want to try to make up for the amount of money they're going to lose, because they were going to lose money on Black Widow regardless. It's just because the climate, like the movie was never going to make $500 million or anything like that. It was going to maybe peer out at $400 million. It's just the climate right now. It's really rough. I mean, we'll find out when Shang-Chi comes out, since that's going to be theater only. We'll find out if it's the climate, or if it was people's I don't think it was people's not being interested, because the movie would have cleared $100 million if it wasn't on Disney Plus. I think we all agree on that. But like I said, this is the true reason that she's suing them. It's because she wants a percentage. It's because not only does she think that they sabotaged her from getting the $50 million, she wants to be able, if she can't get that money from the theaters, she wants to be able to get that money from the streaming revenue. That she should get a percentage of that streaming money for Black Widow. And if she's able to get that, it will open up a can of worms for every other streaming service, because people are going to start wanting to know the number, because actors and, you know, and writers and all kinds of people will start wanting to know the actual numbers, and they will start actually wanting to profit from that, from the studios. You'll start seeing shit like, you'll start seeing shit where directors, like big time directors and actors, are like, this is what my movie did. This is what my movie did for your streaming service. This is what my show did for your streaming service. So pay me adequately. You know, you start seeing that shit, because it's not really a thing right now. Not really. You know, it's sort of a thing, but I mean, like, really, like I'm talking about for these movies that are being moved there, like movies that weren't supposed to be there being moved there. Now, granted, it's a short-term thing, because I believe, because Disney, they have not announced a single thing else to be put on the Disney Plus, you know, be moved from live action to Disney Plus. So, you know, hopefully this thing will be behind us. But, you know, I don't know. Disney's in a tough position. They're in a tough position. On one hand, it'd be nice for them to just get this out of the way, sweep this under the carpet. And once Scarlett Johansson's paid and apologized to, it'll all be forgotten in like 4 months, because we're forgetful fuckers. It'll be forgotten in 1 month once goddamn Shang-Chi comes out, because we're just forgetful fuckers like that. But if they give in, they could create a chain reaction where other people will try them. Well, other people will step up to them and try the same thing for a multitude of reasons, and because of her success, think that they can get away with it. And I don't mean to talk about gangster shit, but that's like, do you show weakness? You show your belly, people might start thinking you're soft. So people might start trying you. And I don't know if Disney wants to be, you know, I don't know if they want to be, you know, in that kind of a light, you know. But clearly, I agree with everyone saying that they're not going to let this get to court, because if this get to court, they have to actually open up the books and, you know, expose shit that they don't want exposed to the world. But it is a tough situation, and like I say, man, I mean, like I agree with Kevin Feige, because I heard Kevin Feige's upset. Yes, Kevin Feige is upset about the handling of this. It should have been something that was handled a long time ago in closed. It shouldn't have been this shouldn't have gotten to the point where it was public knowledge, which is what Kevin Feige is. And I never wanted Black Widow to go to fucking Disney Plus any fucking ways. I wanted it to come out as a first full movie, make over $100 million, be a big movie, probably peter out at $500 million, you know. But to be honest, but I wanted it to come out and be a mega hit, like a big movie, you know, Baby Peter out $500 million, not make as much, you know, make a tiny profit, not as much as it should have made, but, you know, it broke even and made a little profit. But instead, they put it on Disney Plus. It made a nice little chunk of change there, but not as much as, you know, they probably wanted it to. It made about 300, at this moment, it's like at $345 million right now. Which ain't terrible, but it ain't, but Fast and Furious made $500 million. Now granted, Fast and Furious is weird because it like came out a while ago, because Fast and Furious had this weird fucking thing where like it came out in other countries like months in advance, and then it slowly came out, and then it came out in America, so like the numbers on Fast and Furious are weird, and you know, and it still didn't make as much as, you know, normal Fast and Furious movies does, so it's still underperformed, but it performed great for what it was. But I thought at least this would, like, and like that was the limit that they wanted to make, like $500 to $400 million. And at this point, they have to look at themselves in the mirror. It's why I think they're really kind of going, doubling down on making Shang-Chi a theaters only experience. And I heard they're gonna have an Eternals trailer that's gonna be a theaters only experience as well. That's gonna have that on it as well. So I think they're doubling down on this theater only experience. Shang-Chi will be the indicator of how things will go. If Shang-Chi goes, makes over $100 million, makes over at least $600 million, you know, hopefully in the $700 million range, like, if that goes off and makes that much money, then we'll know we're on the right track. Then they'll know, okay, we're gonna leave these movies in the theaters. But I would hate, but Bob Chapek's a problem. Bob Chapek is becoming a problem. I've heard so much about him. I've heard so many stories already about him as he's been there. I've heard so many stories about the people he's putting in different places, about the people he's alienating, about the fact that he's not listening to people. I've heard that Bob Iger doesn't really like him right now, doesn't really like him or his decisions he's making right now. I've heard that he's pissing off Kevin Feige. Bob Chapek might be a problem. He might be a problem, and oh man, he might fuck everything up, because as I said a long time ago in a video, as long as he just followed everything Bob Iger did and just did everything Bob Iger did, he would be fine. But it seems like he is really dedicated to making his own mark at any cost, even the cost of logic and business. Because even the response to Scarlett Johansson, I remember reading the response Disney had to Scarlett Johansson being like, that's spicier than Disney usually does. I don't think it's a coincidence. And like I said, if Feige don't like him, I don't like him. You know, I'm sorry, if Feige don't like the dude, then I don't like the dude. If Bob Iger and Feige don't like the dude, then I really don't like the dude. And I don't know, man. I don't know, it looks about to be some corporate shenanigans going on, man. Man, Bob needs to get his job back, man. I don't know, like, Iger, I know Bob Iger wants to, you know, he's got presidential aspirations, but he might need to put that shit on hold, because, Disney might fall apart without him, man. Really might. But anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe. I'm sorry this video went on so long. I just really had a lot to say about this subject. Comment below and let me know. What do you think is going on with the Scarlett Johansson deal? Why do you think she waited so long? Tell me that. Why do you think Scarlett Johansson waited so long to make this lawsuit? Was she just weighing her options? Was she just waiting to see? Because like I said, the movie was announced to be on premium access months ago. So it's like, what the hell? You didn't know? Like, you can't say you didn't know. They announced it. But yeah, comment below. Why do you think she waited so long, and what do you think the implications are for this? Thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.